Hi, I wanted to share this story because I think a lot of fellow bis can relate and should know they're not alone. I was 15 when I first tried to come out to my parents as bi. I was raised in a Catholic church and even went to Catholic school, but I was raised in a gay accepting home. I was trying to come out to my mom while I was also talking to an 18-year-old guy at my school. My mom yelled at my dad in the other room, "Oh, your bisexual daughter wants to date an 18-year-old man." I was mortified and didn't bring it up again until recently. Now I'm 25, engaged to a man, and more confident in my sexuality. Mom and I talked. She said the boomer thing about how no one ever imagines this for their children, but they say they love you anyways. And then told me that this doesn't mean you can cheat on your fiance. I was shocked she would even say that to me. I did try to educate her on polyamory and ethical non-monogamy and told her that even though that's not something I'm interested in, it's a totally valid type of relationship, but it fell on deaf ears and we moved on. Haven't talked about it since. To anyone who may see this, being bi doesn't make you any more or less promiscuous or prone to cheating than any other sexuality. Also, the simultaneous fetishization and demonization of bisexuality is extremely damaging. And then I just have one more listener write in that kind of works to this. So this writer goes, the stigma around being bisexual, the invalidation from, and I'm strictly speaking as a bi, she, her, the lesbian community, the over-sexualization that comes from men, and just the overall vibe people give off when you tell them you're bi. You get an, "Oh, so you like threesomes," from creepy guys, or, "Oh, so you just don't know if you're gay or not," from lesbians. It's so frustrating. I'm not sure how it is for bisexual men or non-binary members of the community, but I wouldn't doubt it's the same for them. It's like people can't fathom the fact that we are completely capable to have more than just sexual urges towards another human. Like, I can have real feelings for both men and women. And it's as if the concept is impossible to grasp. I wish they would stop sexualizing and invalidating us.
Wow. You have invited the perfect guest for this moment. I have so many thoughts.
Let's hear them.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Where do I begin? Okay. Being bi, first of all, liking people of the same gender, liking people of the opposite gender, and liking people of all the genders does not then make you somehow some sort of freak specimen for enjoying. I mean, I don't even want to say doesn't mean that you're just completely sexually open. It means you can have great sexual experiences and it can be with so many people. But most importantly, and I think it's a really interesting thing to talk about a family that's accepting as a baseline, because I have an accepting family too that for the most part, maybe they were sort of "Oh God, really? Oh no, okay." But it's all fine, which I'll get to in a second. But it's you can be accepting, but then when you start to add in the layer of polyamory or the thought of somebody, I have a friend who's she mostly dates men, but then she was dating women, and then her parents were sad, but now she's with a man, and it's you can be open as a baseline, but then you have to look at, why does polyamory scare you, or why do you immediately think that by being bi you're somehow more sexually open or something like that?
It's very interesting. Mm-hmm. I hear that even I have gay family members and my uncle is gay, and even some of the things that you hear about the gay community and how they're so promiscuous.
Right.
And those men are just so out there. All they care about is sex.
I mean, both can be true. I mean, you can be really into sex, but also be really monogamous. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can also be let's talk about that. You can be really monogamous and really into sex, okay?
Right.
You all should get on that.
Yeah.
But also, I feel the terms are, when you ask me about my pronouns, I think the thing is that, and if I were to sit on one, LOL, it would be probably gender fluid or gender queer or something, because when you talk about how do you identify gay, bi, straight, queer, whatever, they're all just like terms. You know what I mean? I wish when I was, be real, when I was coming out at 18, maybe, it's like, I think I started with bi because it's like I'd been with women, and then it's like I've been with men, but then it's like, oh no, I came out as gay, and I wish I could take that back. I wish I could not have come out as gay, because that actually doesn't capture like the full range of what I feel. I just thought it was so interesting that this person acknowledges like a very open family, like a gay positive family, but that then would sort of shame the sort of like, there's this layer of like, oh, well, you can be gay, but if you're promiscuous or something, or if you're fluid, it's somehow like there's a line. And I feel like that's something that I just hope society, like, I hope we open up the idea of like, what if you never have to come out? You know what I mean? Like, what if you just are?
Yeah.
You know, what if you are sexual and that's fine?
Yeah.
To each their own. You like what you like.
Yeah.
End of story.
Yeah. It's interesting too, because it almost feels like there's a toleration level where it's acceptable to a point.
Yep.
But then if you cross these other lines, then you're not okay at being that. Then you're something else, or you're a combo. And then, I don't know, it just seems so messy when everything's being compartmentalized into sections when it can just be fluid.
That's what's crazy about like Pride started as a riot. Like Pride was started by Black trans women, by people rallying against the system. And now we've got like literally, I think I just saw like rainbow bread. It's like, I mean, what?
Yeah.
Every major corporation coming out in support.
Fine, because when you think of like somebody, and I have them in my DMs, like you have these people who are like, I live in a small town and I'm so scared, and like whatever. If they can see like a corporation being like, you're okay, you're beautiful, you're valid, I'm so into it. But
just don't take advantage.
Yeah, don't take advantage. It was a riot, and I still feel like we have to hold, there's still, people are just still coming to terms with every level of like, if you're queer and fit a box that makes sense, that's one thing, but then what if you're like queer and you're kind of messy, and
then those microaggressions come out like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I look at like, I think cheating and promiscuity and stuff like that, like it can affect anyone. Doesn't matter what community you're in.
We're all human, right?
Yeah.
We're all human. But I looked up something today I think is interesting, because like I come with facts. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
There are only 20 states right now in America, only 20 states that have laws on the books that ban conversion therapy. Only 20.
I just saw
of 50.
this. Yeah. Our home state, Minnesota, it's not banned there.
Yeah.
It blows my mind.
So like, you talk about microaggressions. Well, like, look at where that.
That's
like,
macro. That's big.
Well, macro, but macro ones sort of like lead to micro ones. It's like a culture of like, the microaggressions come in society that doesn't like help make sure that all humans are equal, that have equal rights, equal opportunity, equal, just equality.
Systemic.
Yeah. That's why we're still on the vibe of Pride.
I love that. Okay.
Facts.
I know. It's absolutely amazing how far we've come. I mentioned on another episode, I was like, the AIDS epidemic was the 80s. Like it was only, 40, 30-ish years ago. So to see how far we've come, and having amazing champions like the Stonewall, like those women, like absolutely incredible what, we've been able to accomplish because of people like that. So it's really something. This one kind of speaks to that too. This is another listener write-in. When I was in high school, I did volunteering for a human rights organization. I got to go on a trip to New York at the United Nations. I was there as a delegate for Canada. The Canadian director, who is an older woman, also came. We traveled while we were on our way from the airport to the UN, and she notices that there were a lot of gay people around. Pride was that weekend. This woman asked, quote, "Why is there just gay pride and no straight pride?" Me, a closeted bi, responds with, Straight people don't get killed for being straight.
Woo!
She stopped asking stupid questions after that.
Yeah. I
Wow.
bet she did.
Yeah. And it's like, the Stonewall women, like Black trans individuals are like the most targeted within the community, and they're like the most murdered.
Yes.
It's horrendous.
There's a lot that hits the news now, but there's a lot more that doesn't even reach the news.
Yep.
Yeah.
I actually was in, you got the perfect guest to respond to these. My God, I have so much to say. You might be like, okay, stop. You know what I mean? Tell me to stop. But
You got
anyways, like I was in Boston right around the time that somebody in Boston was trying to start straight pride.
Oh my God.
And here's the thing. Here's my sometimes contentious idea of what pride is. Because pride was a riot. We'll never forget that. But I believe that pride can be celebrated by all people. Straight, gay, everything. Now, go with me. You're going to be like, what? What if pride is about, obviously, the riot and equality and the fight that we still have, but what if pride is something that can include allies, can include the people fighting, can include, the progress that we've made, but also the progress that we have yet to make? What if that could all exist? This person said it exactly to the teacher. When you grow up, even if you grow up like in a religious family or something because I've thought of this, if you grow up where it's like you are not allowed, as a guy to like be with a girl, like whatever, because that's somehow like not allowed, you're at least like taught that human nature lets you know that that's okay, even if you think it might be somewhat wrong or whatever. But add in that what you desire and what your urges are when you're falling in love with the same sex, that is both against human nature, that's what you're taught, and like sinful and wrong. So add in that layer, that's something that straight people just will never understand.
No, I can't relate, but I can imagine that there's a lot of shame, guilt, fear, just everything, because you don't know what you're gonna
Right.
receive from
and
family.
as we grew up, the only thing we saw in TV shows or movies or any publication, anything we were fans of or saw that was public is almost just one single way.
Yeah. Sex ed still is like not taught as like, an inclusive sex ed. That's like a whole nother conversation that needs to happen. It's like, think about all the also some sex ed doesn't even teach, literally only teaches abstinence. It's like, come on, people.
Abstinence doesn't work.
What I did find interesting is my step siblings are kind of in the later stages of middle school. And the other week, they actually learned all the different pronouns.
Oh, cool.
It's being taught at an early age now.
I know.
Which I was actually surprised by because
very surprised.
I didn't have any of that
No.
when I was growing up. But
No.
it's just, I think it's just makes me
I'm
feel
from
good to
Tennessee.
see it's that at least even in a place like Minnesota,
They're getting a little better.
they're being taught that. I was
Yeah.
just kind of surprised.
There is so much progress, And
Definitely.
so every time I see another bread with rainbow bread, I'm like, okay, well, I'll take it because more people are seeing it, It's just always good to remind people that it really does start young. If you can teach people that there's many versions of you that are okay. And if you feel like you possess many versions of yourself, that's okay too. And there are terms that might help you feel comfortable in becoming. And that's really beautiful to hear.
Yeah.
It is.
I know with this story too, it's really interesting that this is like a United Nations worker. Like she's a human rights advocate and yet is so clueless to make a
Yeah.
comment like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
what?
stupidity doesn't mean that you're not smart. You know what I mean? There's some really smart people who are really stupid,
Common sense is not that common.
Yes. and sometimes of a different generation, even people who peg themselves as accepting or I feel like that was even something that people said a lot this year with like, you know, the riots and everything. They're like, I'm accepting, but this is new to me. It's like people like there's a lot for people to learn. And now there's like lots of ways for people to be educated on issues that they might not know about, which is great.
Yeah.
Definitely.